First of all, a very happy Diwali to each and every individual who's watching this show. And I'm having Fateh with me to discuss about what Pakistan and England have done. And today, Pakistan is out of the tournament officially. No match required, no nothing required, because it was like quite an uphill task already for them to be in the tournament. And now England has managed to win the match by 93 runs. And this has been like a great journey for England as well, because last two matches उनके लिए काफी अच्छे रहे हैं, but the tournament की last में उनके लिए जीत आई है, जो obviously कुछ matter नहीं करती, because वो already being defending champion बाहर हो चुके हैं इस tournament से. So Pratay, if we talk about Pakistan, it was already like हम सभी को मालूम था कि भले चाहे मुकाबला जीतना है, but still it is impossible, near impossible for them to survive in the tournament and like go to the semi-finals. But still, what do you want to say about their intent of play and how they have played against them?
Well, see, I think the manner in which they played towards the fag end of today's innings, if only they could have shown this kind of urgency at the start of the tournament, things would have been entirely different, because we saw, that there was some zest, there was some intensity to look and play positive sort of cricket, which was something that most of their campaign, not entirely, but yes, most of their campaign missed. So yes, questions will be asked, because this was a team which wasn't too long ago the number one side, and then back-to-back disappointing campaigns, first at the Asia Cup and then in the World Cup. So yes, questions are going to be raised, and rightly so, at the captains, at the players, even the backroom staff and the coaching and the management, because PCB, we know things are not going around well with the chief selector quitting midway through the tournament. So yes, there's plenty ongoing, and that is usually, more often than not, that is the kind of cricket that Pakistan has. So yes, they would be disappointed by the fact that this was subcontinent, this was not Australia, England, South Africa, or some places. These are conditions where you expect Pakistan to thrive, expect them to play good cricket, but they failed doing that. And I think today's game again, of course, the mathematical situation aside, they already knew that the qualification is entirely over. So yes, good thing for them is that they reached the 188 run mark, so now they finished 5th. But that, I think, is only a consolation prize and consolation victory for a team that has won the World Cup once in the past, and a team which was supposedly expected to perform well in these kind of conditions.
Right, and let me show you the summary of this match as well, because numbers tells the right story to you. So England have opted to bat first at the Eden Gardens, and then we can see England have managed to score 337 runs out of 9 wickets in 50 overs, where Ben Stokes have scored 84 runs out of 76 balls, Joe Root scored 60 runs out of 72, Haris Shroff ने 3 विकेट लिए आउट ऑफ 64 रन्स, शाहीन अफरीदी took 2 wickets out of 72 runs. वहीं जब पाकिस्तान बैटिंग के लिए आए तो 244 रन्स स्कोर किए आउट ऑफ 10 विकेट्स, और आगा सलमान ने सबसे ज्यादा 51 रन्स बनाए, बाबर आजम ने 38 रन्स बनाए. वहीं डेविड विली, उन्होंने 3 विकेट अपने नाम किए, वहीं गट एटकिंसन ने 2 विकेट लिए. ऑल इन ऑल इंग्लैंड 93 रन से ये मुकाबला जीत गई. नाउ प्रत्यय, सिंस हम लोग इस पाकिस्तान की कैंपेन के बारे में अगर बात करें तो एक न्यूज अभी हाल ही में आई थी कि पाकिस्तान के कप्तान बाबर आजम माइट स्टेप डाउन एज द कैप्टन ऑफ द टीम, एंड ये न्यूज पाकिस्तानी मीडिया रिपोर्ट्स के थ्रू हम तक भी पहुंची थी. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, वी डोंट नो वेदर दिस इज राइट और नो, बट आपको लगता है कि क्या ये स्टेप वाकई जरूरी है? डू यू सी एज कैप्टन बाबर आजम फेल्ड दिस कैंपेन?
See, 2-3 things. I think suppose I think they are going to play against Australia after the World Cup. So I don't see Babar stepping down or being removed as the captain for that series. But yes, like I said, if this kind of a campaign is thrown into your face, questions are going to be asked. And I think Babar Azam, his own form with the bat, the manner in which he led the team, the manner in which he conducted his game and the players, because a leader has to take the responsibility and lead from the front. Most of the times, that is something which we saw was missing in Babar Azam's captaincy. He's not a failed captain because, of course, it is the same person who has taken Pakistan to the heights that he has. But like I said, consistency is key, and in these kind of tournaments, Ransi, we know it's a cruel game. You can't lose out 4-5 games on a stretch, and if you're doing that, you're asking for trouble. I think once that bad patch came for Pakistan, once they lost those 4-5 games in the middle, things really started to go awry for them. But for captaincy perspective, I think you also have to look at what kind of options do you have. Do you really have someone who's waiting in the wings and has the leadership credentials who can do that? Because Shadab Khan, who is your vice captain, has himself been woefully out of form. His form with the bat, his form with the ball has been in question. In fact, he has gone on to lose his place to an Osama Mir. So, there are not too many options at the moment. So yes, things are not looking very bright. And this also just kind of tells you that the ICC rankings, which we all rely upon a lot, they come with a caveat, because if you see Sri Lanka, they had before the tournament, we even discussed this point in one of the games before in the pre-match, that it was a team which was on a winning streak of 14-15 games. But you have to keep in mind the fact that those victories came against the sides like UAE, Oman, Zimbabwe, because they were playing in the qualifiers. Similarly with Pakistan, beating Afghanistan, beating UAE, beating these kind of sides, and then coming into competition like the World Cup, where you are up against the sides like Australia, South Africa, New Zealand in different conditions back to back, that becomes a different ball game altogether. So the team which have the strength, which possess that quality that they will be able to withstand those challenges, one after another in different sort of conditions, are the one which will be dominating the league and which will be dominating the points table, which is something you see Australia doing, India doing, South Africa doing, and even New Zealand for that matter. There was a minor blip in their tournament as well, 4 wins and then 4 losses. But then after they've come back well. Pakistan never really got that opportunity. And like I said, towards the fag end of the innings, the manner with Shaheen, Rauf and Mohammad Wasim played, it showed that if your 9, 10, 11 can show that kind of intent, why can't the top batters do that? Fakhar Zaman, his form was slightly up and down. Then he came back, he was dropped, and Abdullah Shafiq was brought in. Then when he came back, he got a century, but again today he failed. So you have to marry form and consistency. Without that, you might shine in patches here and there. You will get 1 victory, 2 victories, 3 victories, but to get those 6, 7 to qualify, those are not going to come. So Babar Azam, yes, as a leader, questions are being rightly raised. But from my perspective, I don't think that Pakistan is not really a country which does not back their players, at least of the caliber that Babar is of, and at least of the position that he is at, because he's the captain. Right. So if you do that, it sends a panic signal as well. I think he will be given more opportunities. But like I said, anything which is being right now said and anything which is being asked about, it's not wrong, because if your team is not going to perform, definitely you will be answerable as a skipper.
चलिए क्वेश्चंस तो ठीक है प्रत्यय, बट बहुत सारे लोग ये भी बोल रहे थे कि इफ ऐसा होता है कि बाबर आजम हैज टू स्टेप डाउन, तो आपको कौन सा ऐसा खिलाड़ी दिखता है जो पाकिस्तान को आगे चलकर लीड कर सकता है?
See, that's what I said. Options are not really too many, because if you see leadership wise, like I said, when you say your vice captain is usually the person you would be perhaps passing the baton to, because he is already a part of the leadership group, and you expect them to take those kind of responsibilities and have some captaincy experience. But now that Shadab Khan himself has been struggling, so you start looking from the top that Fakhar Zaman, Abdullah Shafiq. Then again, these are players. Fakhar Zaman not too young, not a player who has too many years with him. Things like that have to be taken into consideration, and also the fact that you saw that once he was not in form, he was dropped for a certain Abdullah Shafiq. So when you look at a captain, you have to look at the age, you have to look whether they possess the leadership credentials or not, and whether it is a player who is droppable or not. Say for instance, if you talk about India, Jasprit Bumrah, Hardik Pandya, Rishabh Pant, these are your players which will come to your mind when you're talking about leadership after Rohit Sharma. Because these are players who, if available and if fit, they are definitely walking into your 11. But that is not really the case about Pakistan, because not too many players literally just walk into the 11. Shaheen Afridi, given the fact that he has had success at the PS, others perhaps and he's young too, but then the fact that he's a bowler, and we haven't really seen bowlers getting leadership opportunities that often. But right now, it is hard to look past, I think, Shadab and Shaheen, for the simple reason that they have the experience of leading PSL sides. And apart from that, bowling wise, you have to also take care of certain things, because we saw what happened to Kusal Mendes. Once before he took the captaincy mantle, he was a different batter. Once Shanaka got ruled out and he was made the captain, you saw that sudden decline in his batting, and that is often the case. Ratsi, we always say that captaincy aapko bana deti hai, aapko khatam kar deti. And I think we saw with Kusal Mendes, he had around 200 runs in the first 2 games, 198 odd, and then in the next a string of low scores, because the captaincy, the pressure, the burden of taking the field care positions in your mind, which bowler is going to bowl which over, things like that. It takes a lot out of you. So you have to also take care of that. You in that process of giving the captaincy might be some player, you don't want a very good asset of your team to be wasted. So a lot needs to be taken into account. And before the captaincy, I think right now, the first things first, you have to set out things straight in your board. Pakistan cricket board, there has been all sorts of controversies. The chief selector has resigned. There has been controversial resignation of his as well, with his involvement in certain companies in which it should not be. So those conflict of interest and all of that. So first they need to go back to the drawing board, sort the things out in the board, then perhaps think about the captaincy. But I frankly don't think that Babar is going to go anywhere, because he is still, despite all that is being said, he is still the superstar of Pakistan cricket, and he would be back, in my opinion.
And I hope to see Babar Azam again as the captain, because we really like the way he is for the Pakistan team, and we don't really think कि कोई और अभी है जो उनके shoes को fill in कर सकता है. But let me show you the top performers of the first inning of today's match, और उसके बाद में हम follow up करेंगे with the second innings performances. So first inning में we saw Ben Stokes scoring 84 runs out of 76 balls, and इसके अलावा हारिस रॉब के हमने 3 wickets देखे जो 64 runs पर उन्होंने दे करके दिए, जो कि पाकिस्तान की तरफ से परफॉर्मेंस थी. वही जब हम बात करेंगे सेकंड इनिंग्स की, सो वी कैन see Agha Salman from Pakistan side scoring 51 runs out of 45 balls, and David Willey took 3 wickets out of 56 runs. Now, since Pratay already England और पाकिस्तान इस टूर्नामेंट से बाहर हैं, और उनके लिए बहुत जरूरी है कि इस टूर्नामेंट से बहुत कुछ लेकर के जा रहे हैं, बहुत सारा एक्सपीरियंस लेकर के जा रहे हैं, लर्निंग लेकर के जा रहे हैं. But if you get to suggest them, both the teams, like Pakistan you have already suggested, but to England as well, कि क्या है correct करने का, if you want to play in India and win a tournament, what you should be doing?
See, I think it has been a very disappointing campaign indeed for a team that went on to win the 2019 World Cup and then the T20 World Cup as well. So, white ball champions in the truest of senses. Coming into this World Cup, they were the pre-tournament favorites, because I don't think there was anyone, Ratsi, at one point when we were talking about who is going to be the top four. There was literally no one who was saying that they did not have England in their top four. Everyone thought that they will qualify. But to see them, at the bottom of the table for nearly almost the entirety of their campaign, before the victory against Netherlands shot them up to the 7th position. So at least they have now been able to secure the Champions Trophy spot. So from being the defending champions to coming into a situation where you are fighting to stay in the top 8 of the table, it has been a very, very dramatic sort of an overturn. I think plenty went wrong for them as well. They did not really play a lot of cricket in the build-up. If you see towards the latter stages of their tournament, they started to look slightly better. So it might have been a case of their players being slightly short on practice, because 50 overs cricket, no matter what you say, it is a format which requires a lot of practice. Even if you're playing T20 cricket regularly, you still have to play 50 overs cricket to just kind of attune yourself to the dynamics of the game, because it works differently. You can't compare it with T20, you can't exactly compare it with Test cricket either, because it's a hybrid of both. It has the positives and negatives of both the formats, somewhere in the middle. So it's very important for players to be in constant touch with the format. And England did not really play a lot of cricket, 50 overs particularly. So I think that is one of the things that really misfired. Josh Butler's indifferent form, I think that was again one of the biggest negatives of their campaign. And too much chopping and changing. They have gone on to make 3 changes, 2 changes in almost every single game. So, if you look at their squad, if you look at the players, it is a side as gun as any, because it is filled with match winners, filled with over-brimming all-round talent. But, at the moment, they haven't really been able to deliver. So, and now it's sort of a end of an era of sorts for England, which is being talked about a lot, because, most of these players, close to 10 or 11 of their 15, are above 30. So now, and right, what I said about PCB, that goes on to apply to the ECB as well, because there are going to be sweeping changes. There are going to be different players coming up, youngsters coming up. So you already know that a lot of players who are right now playing. Ben Stokes came out of a retirement, that backfired. David Willey has retired. Moeen Ali, David Milan, all of these players are already on the wrong side of the 30s. So England again is going to go into a transformation of sorts. Something that we saw, in 2015 when that revolution was brought into their cricket by Wayne Morgan, and then their cricket entirely changed. So I think that pattern has to be taken forward with the new cricketers now, because these cricketers are now gone. So it's a golden generation which led to a lot of success in white ball particularly, and now even in the red ball under Brendan McCullum. But you have to say that basketball clearly won over mod ball. So Matthew Mott hasn't really been able to inspire his side as much. Plenty went wrong for them, but yes, now it's time for them to just go back, reflect on this campaign, and see what went wrong, where it went wrong, and how they can improve it. Because it's a side which has a lot of talent. England, Australia, India. The good thing with these countries is that they are never short of pool of talent. They always have a lot of players waiting on the bench. So that is not a problem. But now they have to streamline that talent in the correct direction and give it a proper path.
Right. So अभी एक comment आया है, I'm gonna show you that as well. So वहाँ पर M.K. रजा कह रहे हैं top 4 deserve to be there, no arguments done. So obviously हमें पता है हमारे top 4 कौन है, वो है इंडिया, साउथ अफ्रीका, ऑस्ट्रेलिया, न्यूजीलैंड. ये टूर्नामेंट अब देखा जाए कि अब पूरी तरीके से कंफर्म हो चुके हैं top 4, और बाकी जो मैचेस बचे हैं वो बस here and there just for the courtesy ही बचे हैं. बट ऐसे बहुत सारे लोग हैं, जैसे कि अभी मोहम्मद रजा ने भी बोला कि top 4 completely deserve करते हैं वो स्पॉट. बट कोई ऐसी टीम रहता है जो आपको लग रही थी कि शायद उन्हें होना चाहिए था top 4 में?
Definitely Afghanistan. I'm smiling because it is a team that I loved watching. It was one of the best teams, I will say, in the tournament in a lot of senses. The manner in which the batting turned up, that was, I think, the biggest positive, because I've said this previously as well. We know that Afghanistan is a very strong bowling unit, but it was the batting which always disappointed. But to see the manner in which Ratran batted, becoming the first centurion for them, the manner in which Gurbaz batted in some of the games. Hashmatullah Shahidi leading from the front, he scored runs. Ikram Alikhil, again another upcoming and rising talent, he really showed what he's capable of. And Umar Zai yesterday, the 97 that he made against South Africa, he showed his progress as well. With the ball, Fazlak Farooqi, slightly jittery start to the tournament, but then he looked a different bowler ever since he got that 4-wicket haul. Rashid Khan is just Rashid Khan. Mohammad Nabi again, another very experienced campaigner. And Mujibur Rahman, again another world-class spinner. So it is on paper at least, it is one of the finest sides you can actually stack up. And like I said, had they not lost the game against Bangladesh, and perhaps had it not been for that unbelievable performance, the greatest of all time kind of a knock from Glenn Maxwell, we might as well have seen Afghanistan making it to the top 4, and what a moment it would have been. But unfortunately not to be. But I'm sure, Ratsi, in the years to come, say the 2027 World Cup, although it's in South Africa, so yes, I have to say it with caution, because the conditions in South Africa are not the kind that Afghanistan would really like, given that they are a spin heavy side. But in the 4 years, you never know, because you've seen Naveen Uda, you've seen Umar Zai, you've seen Fazlak Farooqi and the likes coming up and doing the job. So you never know that some other good pacers might just as well come up, and they might do something good in South Africa, and we might see Afghanistan being one of the top 4 teams at time. So yes, one team that I would have definitely wanted for me is it's going to be Afghanistan.
Like 2 teams we can talk, like Afghanistan and Netherlands, they must be happy with their campaign in this ODI World Cup, because this was like way better than the expectations, and definitely they have won some matches, they have had their experiences, and अब यहाँ से उनके लिए जो होगा वो बेहतरी की ओर ही होगा. Now let me take you to the Twitter reactions of this match, England versus Pakistan, since ये मुकाबला होने के बाद जिस तरीके से tweets हैं वो बताते हैं. What's the joke? And we can see the lighter environment in the match when Haris Rauf is having a chat with the father itself. Definitely, we don't know about the joke yet, but yes, you can always tell us what do you think what this joke is all about. Let me take you to another tweet. Both set batters Ben Stokes and Joe Root departs after a 15 knock, and we can see the numbers as well, because already ये उनके लिए tournament end हो चुका था. But yes, what you can do is you can still give your best and just be happy about it. The next tweet about the match, Pakistan Pacers a bit expensive but added their names to wicket tally. 3 wickets by Haris Rauf, and definitely something to learn from here as well. The last tweet of this session, it's about time, 338 runs in 3 balls, and we can definitely see what the paparazzi and the captain. Now, as we were talking about Ben Stokes as well, my last question would be like, since he has taken a huge commitment to be the part of the ODI World Cup, what do you think about him? Like, this must be like, is he going to continue again for the England side, or this is it? He's going to just announce that I'm out of it. What do you think? What do you think that he should be doing?
See, I think he has already said that he is not entirely sure of what he is going to do. But just the fact that the kind of player that he is and the kind of utility he brings in. Of course, in this World Cup, he was not being able to play as an all-rounder because he was not bowling as much because of his knee issues. But if he is fit, Ben Stokes is a player who will walk into any 11 on any given day because he is that kind of a player who can single-handedly, he can do the stuff that only Stokes can do, like what we saw Maxwell doing the other night against Afghanistan. So these are players who can literally bring their teams out of nowhere. You might just be thinking that it's a down and out team, and they might just spring up a surprise that no one saw coming. So for players like these, of course, you don't want them to go. But if you look at the larger perspective, Ransi, and if you really consider how this entire campaign worked for him, yes, he got back into form, got a century, and then a good brisk half century today as well. But apart from that, it was really a disappointing campaign for him on a personal note as well. Second, because firstly, he wasn't able to do justice to the tag of an all-rounder because he wasn't really playing that role, playing as a specialist batter. So that kind of upsets the balance of England. Secondly, once he came out of the retirement, it felt like it's a hero walking out. It's a hero coming back. So everyone had the expectations extremely high. All of them thought that Stokes will do something really special and he will play some
we
special.
expected what Glenn Maxwell did against Afghanistan, the same we expected Ben Stokes to do in every match for England.
Absolutely, because he is that kind of a player. He actually takes expectations to beyond boundaries. So of course, a lot was expected, but in the larger scheme of things, you will feel that his comeback kind of backfired. It did not really go into the direction it was aimed at. And now that the World Cup is done, because when he came out of retirement, what he said was that the allure, the lalach, jisko bolte hain, the allure of coming back and defending the title is too difficult to ignore. And now that England have failed and have failed miserably at that, I don't really see a reason for him to continue. Because his only agenda was to come back, walk into this 11, do something that only he can, and perhaps defend that title and make England, a triple champion, 2019, then 2021, and then 2023. But that wasn't meant to be. So I personally will think that he will walk off, and that is what he should do. But then again, he has said that he is not sure, and if he wants to play, I don't think anyone in that England camp is going to say that go away, retire, we don't want you, because he is that kind of a player. You want him in your 11 rather than out. So yes, my opinion is that he should walk off, but I don't think he will just yet. Let's see how it goes.
Definitely. All the best and all the luck to all the teams right now in the tournament and all the teams who have played and participated in this beautiful tournament. And definitely that's the end of the show. We're going to make a comeback tomorrow, discuss India-Netherlands. There's a last match of the group stage as well afterwards, and semi-finals and finals ki taraf padenge. Thank you so much, Pratyay, and each and everyone who are joining me here. And again, we're going to make a comeback and talk more and more about cricket. Tab tak aap dekhte rahiye CricTracker's India show.